everything you need to know about Fourth Wing without actually reading the book. Let's go. Let's start with the characters. Xaden Ryerson, our hot boy, our resident hot boy. Always imagine him as tall as possible, as hot as possible, and as cool as possible. Then we move on to Violet Sorrengail. She was born like sickly, like imagine her as a sickly Victorian child, but she crawls out of the depths of sickliness, right? Like she's earned her badassery. So she's weak, she's constantly getting her bones broken, but she has a fighter spirit. And then we have Violet's little sister, Violet's big sister, badass Mira Sorrengail. She's a dragon rider already. She's grown. She's cool as hell. She's a strong ass rider. She's just imagine her as a cool badass chick, okay? And then we have Violet's older brother named Brennan. He was also a dragon rider and he died in war. And then we have Rhiannon. I can't remember her last name. She wants to be a writer. She's in the same year as Violet Sorrengail. And then we have Dane Atos, Violet's childhood best friend. He's 1 year older than her in the writer school. So that's the cast of characters that know Violet. And then we have Liam. He is Xaden's foster brother. He knows Xaden because his family fought beside Xaden's family in the Great Rebellion. Most of the plot of the story takes place in a school called Basgiath War College, where they learn how to become good dragon riders, become skilled killers, become great soldiers. It's just where they learn how to be like a killing machine. Basically, once you enter Basgiath, anyone can kill you. They can just be like, you look weak, I'll snap your neck. And let me just say, the author, Rebecca Yarros, she was not playing. Like, people were dying left, right, and center. There's, like, you know how normally when you read a book, you're pretty confident that, like, none of the people you know are gonna die? You could not say that for this book. People were dropping left, right, and center. Like, every time I open a page, they're like, and that person died, and that person died, and him, he died too. And I was like, okay. So it is fun. The story starts with Violet in her mom's office and she's like, Mom, I don't want to be a writer. Like, it's scaring me. I don't want to. I'd rather be a scribe like my dad. And her mom was basically like, yeah, my family does not have losers or weaklings. You have to be a writer. And Mira, Violet's sister, is like, Mom, if you send her to become a writer, she will most likely die. She's weak. And her mom was like, okay, bet. Like, if she dies, she dies. And Mira was like, are you okay? Like, are you okay with burying another child so soon after Brennan's death? And her mom was like, yeah. Like, I don't want any weak children. So basically, Violet had no choice. She had to go to Basgiath. So Mira's like, okay, if you have to go, here, take this basically armor I made for you out of the scales of my dragon. It should keep you safe from people trying to stab you in your sleep. But other than that, like, don't die. You're on your own, kid, but like, I believe in you. So Violet is like, okay, if I have no choice but to be here, I will do my best, even though my bones keep breaking, even though I'm a frail, sick little Victorian child, I will do my best. So she goes, and the first like challenge to entering Basgiath is there's this parapet you have to climb. I think they just make people climb it to weed out the weaklings, because just climbing the parapet so you could enter like the campus of Basgiath, 67 people died. They fell off and just dropped to their death, and nobody said anything. And keep in mind, even if you get to Basgiath, it doesn't mean that like once you're there you're safe. People can kill you there too. So I was like, this book has no value for human life, and I love that. So basically, Violet is like climbing the parapet. She's like doing her best, right? And she meets Rhiannon. This is where she meets Rhiannon, and she sees that Rhiannon's boots are not stable enough. They don't have enough grip to climb the parapet. So she was like, here, take one leg of my boot so that like we'll both have equals stability, and maybe we'll both make it to the other side of the parapet. So Rhiannon makes it, Violet makes it, and on the parapet, some people are lunatics because basically the Rider College has no rules. Some people that are pledging to become riders and trying to enter Basgiath, they just throw other people off the parapet. They keep pushing each other off the parapet, being like, yeah, if you can't kill, you're basically not welcome here. And one of those like crazy lunatics that push people off the parapet is Jack Barlow. And the minute he sees that Violet is General Thorngale's daughter, he's just like, I hate you, I'm going to kill you. Like he swears that freaking oath or something, just on sight. Nobody knows why. I read the entire book. I don't know why. He just was like a sadistic person and wanted to kill her on sight. On the way to Basgiath, that's where we meet Xaden Ryerson. And she's like, the first time Violet sees him, she's like, oh, he's hot. She's like, damn, that man is fine. And then somebody says like, oh, that's Xaden Ryerson. And she goes, that's the guy whose dad killed my brother. I mean, she doesn't say it out loud, but she thinks it in her head, and she's like, that's my enemy. So when I first read that line that like Xaden's dad killed her brother, I literally gasped. Because how many times have you read an enemies to lovers book where they actually had reason to be enemies? Like, his dad killing your older brother is good enough reason for you guys to be enemies, but your mom getting her lick back by killing his dad, and basically all the parents of everyone who sided with his dad, enemies to lovers like never done before. So when she gets to the Basgiath War College, she sees her childhood best friend, Dane Atos. And at first you think, oh, maybe he's gonna be like the love interest. Immediately no. He's just like, I like him personally. I like him, but he just gives like good guy, boy next door, and you're like, not when they have a resident hot bad guy. No one's falling for the good guy right now. And he's not that good. He does some really bad things too, just saying. So we see Dane Atos, right? And he's like, no, Violet, you're weak, you're frail, like you've broken every bone in your body at least twice. Like, no, you have to go to the scribe's quadrant. And she's like, my mom is not letting me go. Like, I don't even want to be here, but my mom said I can't leave. So like, stop being weird and just like let me be here. And he's like, no, Violet, like we'll sneak you out. I'll do whatever it takes. Just go to the scribe's quadrant. And she's like, my guy, you're gonna have to calm down. But basically, yeah, right now he's just like the over caring, overprotective childhood best friend that doesn't have any faith that she will be able to survive there. After Violet basically tells Dane that like, yo, I can't leave, I'm stuck here, my mom's not letting me leave, they have to go to like the front lawn of Basgiath, and all the surviving cadets have to get into their squads. And Violet is in Dane's squad, but Xaden Ryerson is like, switch her into my wing so that I can be her wing leader. So basically, everyone thinks that Xaden is gonna try to kill Violet just because like he has reason to get revenge, and basically people die in Basgiath like flies. Like they drop like flies. So people are like, he could just stab her in her sleep and there will be no consequences. So that's probably why he wants to be her wing leader. Oh, also, we learned that like because Dane is in second year, he is already bonded with a dragon, and he now has like the ability to do some type of like lesser magic. But aside from that, he also has like a signet, which is basically a power that once you bond with a dragon, you have the ability to manifest some type of power. And Dane's signet is that he can read people's recent memories if he touches their face. So while in Basgiath, they have to do sparring competition like every day. But the thing is that like, again, there are no rules. So even if you're sparring with another cadet, they can snap your neck. They can break your arm. They can do whatever, right? So Violet is sparring and there's Jack Barlow, right? And he's like, yo, I'm gonna kill you. And they're in the sparring gym. And just to prove that he means it, Jack Barlow takes the neck of the first year he's sparring with and just snaps it. And there are no consequences. There's nothing, right? So Violet is like, yo, that is crazy. Because Violet is a first year, you're not allowed to pick who you spar with. And she's basically assigned to another marked one whose name is, I think it's pronounced Imogen. And basically that girl has it in for Violet, and like they're sparring, right? And she bests Violet because Violet is sickly, like I keep saying. And rather than just like letting Violet tap out, she basically breaks her arm. Basquiat has no value for human life, zero consequences for hurting anybody. Violet with a broken arm is like, yo, I can't fight. Everyone here is lethal, and if I don't learn how to like win my sparring competitions before Jack gets to me, I'm going to end up dead. So basically, she goes to the healers, like, let's say a little hospital. They fix up her bones. Her arm is no longer broken. She goes back to her room and she finds that her sister Mira, she gave her like a little book that Brennan put together when he was in Basquiat on how to like survive the place. Brennan basically writes that like you can find out who the teachers will assign to be your sparring partner beforehand, right? With this information, Violet basically figures out who her sparring partners are gonna be beforehand, and she basically poisons the crap out of them. Like before every little sparring like bout she has, she drugs them. Like not so that like they die, but just enough so they're wobbly and can't kick her ass. So basically she ends up winning a lot of her sparring competitions. But then Zayden Ryerson, he's like, I'm not stupid. Like this girl is poisoning people. So he basically goes like, congrats, like I appreciate that you're smart enough to know you can't win a fight. So you start poisoning people, but you need to learn how to like win a fight. If not, when you're in battle, you can't poison the people you're in battle with. So girl, learn how to fight. And he does this one thing where he basically challenges her to a fight, even though he's like a third year wing leader and he's basically a much better fighter than her. And like he doesn't even do it to kick her ass. He just does it to give her like specialized blades that are made for her. So he challenges her to a fight and he's like, pow, and like Dane thinks that Zayden's gonna kill Violet when he challenges her to a fight, but he doesn't even do anything to her. He just like sidesteps her. He's like, oh, come at me, and she's like, pow pow pow, and he's just ducking and weaving and like pow pow pow. Can't touch this. Duh, duh. He's just basically showing off that he's a cool hot boy, and I'm like, yeah, it was very cute. So there's basically a rule that marked ones or people whose parents were killed for um betraying the nation in the terrorist rebellions, they're not allowed to hang out in groups of more than three. But one night when Violet is out looking for poisons so that she can poison her next sparring partner, she climbs up a tree and she sees Zayden and like a group of other marked ones, and she sees them like discussing in the middle of the night, and she's like, oh my god, these people are planning a rebellion, they're gonna kill everybody. So she like climbs down a bit further closer to the ground in the tree so that she can overhear their conversation. And she finds out that like they're not planning a rebellion. Zayden's just basically being like, okay, I know that like as marked ones, we're not allowed to hang out in groups of more than three. But since I'm a third year and I don't want you guys to die because you're basically forced into being a rider where no one else is, I'm gonna give you as much advice as I possibly can. And she's like, oh my god, he's so sweet. He looks out for like the younger ones. He's so cute. Some marked one is like, I saw Violet Thorngill here. Her mom killed my parents. I want her. I'm gonna kill her. And Zayden's like, no, she's mine. And Violet is like, oh crap, Zayden has it out for me. He's gonna try to like kill me. But anyway, after like Zayden's done with his little group of like marked ones, we give them advice. It's like, all of you go back to campus in groups of three. So as they're like leaving, Violet thinks that like, oh, it's safe for me to come down out of the tree. But then when she comes out, guess who's there? Guess who's there? I bet you can't guess. Zayden's there. And he's not stressed or anything because he's a chill hot guy, right? He's like, are you gonna turn me in for treason? Are you gonna report me for hanging out with more than 3 marked ones at once? Because if you do, I'll die, right? But he's not even saying it like he's scared. And she's like, I don't really have a reason for reporting you. You're not doing anything like dodgy or like bad. So whatever, I'll just let it go. Zayden's basically like, okay, since you're not like gonna turn me in and have me killed, just a little advice. You have to like watch your back. Jack Barlow keeps threatening to kill you. So rather than avoiding him, just boss up and show him that like you have some fight in you. Like next time he steps to you, show him like you got a little spice in you. And next time they're like sparring in class and like Jack Barlow basically threatens her, she throws her blades at his head. She doesn't like hit him in the head, but just like to let him know that like if she wanted to, she could. Oh, we also learned that like Zayden bonded one of the most powerful dragons available to bond. Her name is like Sigil. She's like a very powerful, very vicious dragon, and she gave him the signet of wielding shadows. So like he can make shadows do anything he wants. He's basically one of the most powerful riders around right now. Over this time, Violet's relationship with Dane is kind of like crumbling a little bit because like as she's winning more of her sparring competitions and as she's like crossed the parapet, she's basically proving that like even if she is weak or she is sickly, she's at least good enough to survive this far. Because it's not everyone that tried to cross the parapet that survived. It's not everyone that survives the sparring, right? But he keeps going, no, you're too weak for this. Just go. Like, please go to like the scribe's quadrant. So she's getting really mad because she's like, you need to stop being overprotective of me. I can't leave you telling me that I'm not good enough to survive here after I keep trying to like prove myself to not only you but to me myself is getting old really quickly. Like, I know you love me, I know you're my childhood best friend and you just want the best for me, but you basically telling me that I'm weak is not really what I want right now. Okay, so they basically have something called the gauntlet, and this was so confusing to me because my understanding of it is that it's a deadly obstacle course. You have to survive it. If you're a rider in your first year, you either survive it or you die trying. And trust me, people die. It's like they scale a mountain of some sort, and like one of Violet's teammates, I think her name was Aurelie, she just falls to her death because a giant dragon just flies overhead and she gets distracted. Yeah, so another person dead. Violet, she's having some issues scaling parts of the gauntlet, and she ends up using like a rope and a dagger to help her. And technically, you're not allowed to use any like equipment to help you with the gauntlet. So a wing leader named Amber Mavis sees that and she's like, that's cheating. She only had to cheat because she's weak. She like, we need to kill her because like weak people should not be riders. And Zayden's like, yeah, back off. And then Violet is like, technically I read the codex because I'm a bookworm and I'm allowed to carry anything I carry on my body is basically a part of my body and not an equipment. So even if you're mad, I technically didn't do anything wrong. I didn't use equipment because I carried it on my body, and so by the laws of the codex, it's considered a part of me. And Amber Mavis is like, girl, like they only made that law up so that people wouldn't steal. But Violet is like, well, I know the law and I'm right. And Zayden's like, yeah, I ride with Violet. Yeah, I'm backing her up. Say what you want. So Amber has like some deep-seated anger against Violet. So we move on to the first year riders getting an opportunity to meet the dragons. This is the first time where they just see all the dragons who are interested in bonding with first years. And there's something called treshing where like all the first years meet up with dragons and like they try to bond. It's almost like speed dating but with dragons. But before that, there's like a practice session where as a first year you just look at the dragons just to like see what's available. And the dragons were just burning up first years. Like, no provocation. You just walk too close to them. You talk too much. You piss them off. They don't like the color of your outfit. They burn you. And I'm like, the country doesn't even have enough soldiers. Like, they're fighting this long war and they're short on soldiers. I'm like, y'all are not being effective with the amount of lives you're letting waste. Y'all should not be letting this many riders die. Y'all should be holding your dragons accountable. Like, okay, this is not even explaining the plot of the book anymore, but it is my opinion that they gotta jump some of those dragons. Like, if you burn a rider unprovoked just because you were bored and the rider was pissing you off just by existing, somebody needs to whoop your ass. Like, somebody needs to just jump you for like, pow, 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 stop burning riders. I'm sorry, but this was pissing me off while I was reading the book. So basically, back to the actual plot of this book. When the first years are meeting like the dragons available for bonding, Jack Barlow sees this one tiny miniature golden dragon. Like, it's super tiny compared to all the other dragons. It's a feather tail. It's basically not a war machine. It looks like the opposite of a war machine. And everyone's like, that is not even a dragon that's big enough for riding. That's a loser dragon. That dragon is lame as hell. And Jack Barlow, being the psychopath that he is like, I'm gonna kill that dragon. Unprovoked. So basically, Jack and two other people, I can't remember their names, they tried to kill the golden dragon. And Violet, being the main character that she is, she's like, even though I'm weak, that golden dragon reminds me of me. And even though that dragon basically looks like a loser dragon, I am not gonna let Jack and his trio of losers try to kill her. So she like tries to fight Jack Barlow. In the threshing, none of the wing leaders or squad leaders are allowed to step in. So cadets can kill each other while trying to bond for dragons, and like Xaden or Dane or any of the wing leaders are not allowed to step in. So while Violet is like trying to protect the golden dragon, Jack and his three friends, they injure her and they almost kill her. And Xaden moves like he's about to step in, like he's about to break the rules and come to her aid. But the next thing you know, a big black massive dragon pulls up and just pops off. He like incinerates two of Jack's friends for trying to kill the golden dragon, and Jack Barlow gets scared of Violet and basically runs away. So what ends up happening is that the big black dragon, his name is, I think his name is Terran, and he bonds with Violet. And basically, black dragons are one of the most powerful dragons. So even though Violet is like sickly and Victorian childish, she basically bonded with like the most powerful dragon available for bonding. And surprise, surprise, she also bonds with the golden feather-tailed dragon. So for the first time in maybe history, she is a rider that's bonded to two dragons. Mic drop. Coat drop. It's even special because her dragon, like the big black one, Terran, he is mated with Xaden's dragon, Sigale. And the thing with mated dragons is that like they have to be near each other. They can't go long periods of time without being side by side with each other. And another thing, riders and dragons have like a really special, really strong bond. So basically, if a rider dies, depending on how strong the bond is, the dragon might also die. And for a mated dragon, if their mate dies, they can die. If a dragon dies, the rider will 100% die. So let me basically summarize this. Basically, Violet is the weakest person in this whole tangled mated mess. She has bonded with a dragon Terran, who's made it to Xaden's dragon, Sigil. If Violet dies and her bond is super deep with Terran, Terran will die. And if Terran dies, Sigil will die. And if Sigil dies, Xaden Ryerson will die. So basically, their lives right now just got intertwined forever because Xaden cannot let anyone kill Violet. Because if she does, by the domino effect, he will die too. Tell me that doesn't eat. Like, tell me that doesn't eat. While, like, all the bonding is still happening, tensions are still rising between Violet and Dane because Dane is like a rule follower, but he's a rule follower down to the letter. So, you know how, like, when she was in the Treshin and Jack Barlow tried to kill her, even though, like, wing leaders and, like, squad leaders are not allowed to step in to interfere with, like, cadets killing each other, Xaden was about to step in. But Dane, he saw it and he was not going to step in because he was like, the rules are the rules. Xaden basically has Dane confess to Violet that, like, no matter how much I love you, I would rather watch you die than break the rules. So basically, Violet is like, even though you're my childhood best friend and I kind of had a crush on you, I'm starting to like you a lot less. Like, I don't know how to tell you. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, broski. Like, you know? While Violet is having this inner conflict that I guess my friendship with Dane isn't as strong as I thought it was, Dane was super excited that she survived her Treshin, even though he didn't step in to save her when 2, 3 people try to kill her. So he runs to her and kisses her. And, like, she had a crush on him for a long time. So she, like, you would have thought that, like, the kiss was special, but she didn't feel anything. She was just like, oh, I guess all the feelings are gone. But, like, she didn't tell him that, right? He's like, oh my god, Violet, like, I'm so glad you survived. So I kissed you. But at the same time, there are rules about, like, squad leaders dating people in their command. And because I'm a rule follower, like, even if I like you, like, I can't date you. So Violet is like, I mean, I wasn't going to, like, I didn't even like you back. Like, I wasn't going to date you anyway. But the fact that you were just like, even if you did like me, you would choose to follow the rules over choosing to be with me just tells me how much you value the rules more than you value me. Okay, so forget boy troubles, back to Violet and her dragons. Basically, the first couple months after you bond with your dragon is when your bond are super weak. And basically, at Basgiath, that means that all the other cadets that didn't bond will basically try to murder you so that they can have an opportunity to bond with your dragon. And because Violet basically bonded with, like, a war machine of a dragon and the most powerful dragon in existence, everybody wants to kill her. And Xaden, having his life being recently tied to hers, was like, oh, this is gonna be a problem. In the night when Violet is sleeping, one day, a bunch of cadets enter her room and they try to kill her because they're like, if I kill her, Terran will think I'm a badass and want to bond with me. So she's like panicking. She's like, pow, 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 trying her best. But it's like, I don't know, 10, 12 to 1. So it gets to a point where, like, she's like, yo, I'm about to die. And all of a sudden, she just has the ability to freeze time. Everyone just gets stuck and frozen in time. And she, like, is able to run away from the person trying to kill her. And then Xaden enters and basically he wields his shadows and kills all the cadets trying to attack her. And Xaden's like, yo, I just saw you freeze time. So he takes her to Terran and what's his dragon's name? He takes her to Terran and Sigale to figure out why she had the ability to freeze time. And basically, because of Andarna, she's a feathertail, but that's basically, from my understanding, a baby dragon that hasn't really manifested their full grown height and their full grown powers. And the thing with feathertails is that you know how like dragons give you signets? Feathertails don't give you signets. They just give you their power because they're baby dragons. That's dangerous because if people know that Andarna is a baby dragon, people will probably try to hunt her down and kill her so that they can steal her power. Or they might just lock her in a lab and like do research on her because baby dragons are super rare. So basically, Violet is not allowed to tell anyone that Andarna is a baby dragon or that Andarna can give her powers. Oh, and Violet finds out that like because her dragon is mated to Xaden's dragon, she can hear his thoughts and he can hear her thoughts. And also, her dragons can speak into Xaden's mind, and Sigil can also speak into her mind. So like they're a deeply interconnected couple. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. After Meet the Dragons, Xaden basically is like, how did those cadets get into your room? Someone must have opened the door. And at first, Violet is like reluctant to tell him because the person that opened her door is a wing leader and is above her in like the chain of command at the school. She's thinking like if I tell Xaden, he won't believe me. But she tells Xaden who did it, and Xaden's just like, okay, that checks out. So the next day at assembly, Xaden basically like as the wing leader of her section, he goes to the top of the assembly on stage and basically goes, Amber Mavis, you try to kill a cadet, and that is like a massive betrayal. You're not allowed to kill cadets like under your chain of command or whatever it was. And Dane Atos was apparently really close with Amber Mavis, so he's like, no, that's absolutely not true. That's not possible. Violet, tell everyone that that's not true. Like, there's no way. Like, why would Amber try to kill you? And Violet's like, yeah, like it's true. And Dane tries to use his signet on her. He tries to read her memory, but he doesn't even ask. He's just like, come here, let me see. And she's like, yo, no, like that's a violation. It's like, come here, let me see. And so she's like, no, I'm not letting you. Like, get your hand, like, boy, don't test me. A bunch of dragons show up, try Amber for, I guess, treason against another cadet. I don't really remember what it was called. And they set her on fire. Yeah, she died. So yeah, Violet is now like, oh my god, Xaden, like, he believed me. He took my, like, I told him what happened and he took my word for it. Whereas Dane Atos, my childhood best friend, did not believe me and tried to violate my space by basically using his powers to read my memories. So basically our boy Dane, he's just going through a lot of character assassination where he basically assassinates his own character, which sucks because like he really could have been the boy next door, but he was just too much of a smothering pain in the ass. Okay, so this is where Liam comes in because Xaden assigns him to be Violet's bodyguard. Wait, I forgot to say this. Doesn't this drawing of Xaden look like Carlos Sainz? Like, Carlos must have been the inspiration because this is his face with a scar. Okay, moving back. This is where Liam comes in because he's basically the strongest, most competent cadet in first year, and he's a marked one, and he's Xaden's foster brother. And basically Xaden he was like, protect her with your life because like my life is tied to hers. And Liam is basically the sweetest, best person in the world because he's like, yeah, broski, like I owe you a lot, so yeah, I'll do it. And even though like Liam's a marked one and he gets disrespected a lot, he literally just doesn't let it get to him. He's not a downer, even though Violet is basically throwing a tantrum that like, yo, I don't want you following me around because Zane basically asked you to like babysit me and be my bodyguard. Liam's like, yeah, I'm still gonna follow you around though, just to keep you safe. But I'll pretend like I don't notice you whining and complaining about it. And they have like this sort of cute little friendship where she likes him as a friend because he's fun to be around, but she rebels against him because basically Zayden assigned him to protect her, and she's like, Zayden, I don't need a bodyguard. So, Violet and Liam just developed the cutest freaking friendship in the entire plot. Oh, and then basically we found out that like Zayden is the oldest of all the marked ones. And I guess Violet's mom was like, should we kill the children of like all the traitors as well? But Zayden was like, no, no, no. I will personally take responsibility for all 107 children whose parents were traitors. And I guess like if any of them become traitors, like my life is forfeit. Fit. I didn't really understand what responsibility he took on, but that was basically the gist of it. So I think Violet's mom literally carved 107 markings on his back, like to remind him every day that he has that many lives on his shoulders, that he's responsible for that many lives. Isn't Zayden just that guy? Like, isn't he just that guy? Like, because the man has no malice in his heart. Like, even though everyone treats him like a traitor and everything, he's literally just the sweetest person. Even though Violet's mom killed his dad, he's not beefing her. He tries to keep her alive. He's nice to everyone. Like, oh my god, I love Zayden. Okay, back to the plot. Remember how Violet was basically preparing to be a scribe? She's very into like reading and childhood stories, and she had one story that her dad used to talk to her about, and it was like a book of folklore, and it was just talking about like this mythical creatures called wyverns that it was just as like folklore, like she used to hear about those stories. But because she missed her dad, she wanted another copy of those stories. But when she went to the library, where they are basically supposed to have every book in existence, there was no mention of wyverns at all. So she was like, huh, that's weird. Like, you guys are supposed to have every book in the kingdom. I wonder why you don't have wyverns. But I guess we'll never know. And she just goes back to her room. But yeah, keep wyverns in your mind. It's gonna be interesting. Okay. Remember what I said about Zayden and Violet's dragons being mated? Apparently, um, when the dragons get spicy, their feelings and their like strong emotions and their desire to do the dance with no pants also gets pushed onto Violet and Zayden. So one day out of nowhere, Violet wakes up in heat. She wakes up and she's like, what is happening? Why do I want everyone so bad right now? And basically she leaves her room to try to get some fresh air to clear her head, and she finds Zayden, and he's also trying to get some fresh air to clear his head because their dragons are going at it. And even though like you can read your dragon's mind and the dragon can read your mind, you can develop walls to kind of block them out sometimes. So Zayden's like teaching her how to block it out, and they're both like, oh, our dragons are in the mood tonight. So I don't even know what happens. Like, one thing leads to another, and Zayden and Violet make out. They kiss. And I'm telling you, like, their enemies to lovers story starts here with their little kiss. But they both realize that they are attracted to each other. Like, they've had some things brewing beneath the surface, but they're also aware that like their attraction is being magnified like times 100 because their dragons are bumping nasties. So Zayden's like, you should go back to your room and like let's let's circle back to this when we're not in heat. Okay, onto the talk of their dragons. You know how I said like dragons give their riders the ability to manifest a signet? If you don't manifest a signet within like 6 months, give or take, you will probably die. So Violet is freaking out because she's like, yo, other people like Rihanna manifested the ability to move things through wall. Liam manifested some signet, I can't remember. All the other friends like she has, they're manifesting signets. And she has like the most powerful dragon. So the fact that she hasn't manifested is freaking her out because she's like, yo, I'm about to die if I don't manifest this. And also because manifesting a signet is part of it is based off your personality. The dragon's power manifests in a way that transfers one of your key traits into a power. So she's like, it's because I'm weak that I don't have a signet yet. And also, she's having some troubles because like as a rider, you're supposed to be able to ride like your dragon without falling off, but she keeps falling off, which makes her feel weaker because for all the other dragons, like if you fall off, they'll just let you fall to your death. But Terran actually likes her, so when she falls, like he picks her up. And basically, he's like, okay, you gotta learn how to ride better because you're making me look like a loser. Like, you're embarrassing me. I'm supposed to be like super powerful, and you're making me do all this. Like, don't make me look like a dork. So, like, he's not mad at her, but she herself, like, she feels like weak. He, she just, Dane keeps saying, like, girl, why can't you ride? Like, like, why can't you keep your seat without falling out? Like, you're supposed to be a good rider. Why are you so weak? Basically. So she just feels very overwhelmed by not being as powerful as the dragon she matched up to. There gets to a point where the first years are playing war games. Violet's squad, like Fourth Wing, they play against another squad, and it's kind of like Capture the Flag, but deadlier because they're on dragons and they're allowed to kill each other even though it's a game. So Violet and Liam and Zayden are on the same team and they're playing this game, and Jack Barlow, he's on the opposite team, right? Violet is on Terran's back and she's about to capture the other team's flag, which is in this case is like a golden egg, and Jack Barlow is on the other team and he's a lunatic who has it out for Violet. So basically he tries to kill her. And Liam, having sworn to protect her, he ends up getting into like a fight with Jack Barlow. And somehow Jack Barlow bests him and sends Liam like flying off his dragon, about to die. And once again, Violet freezes time using Endarna's powers and she saves Liam. But she's so pissed at Jack because she's like, why are you so obsessed with trying to kill me and try to kill my friends? And she's just like a ball of rage, and it basically manifests into her wielding lightning. She uses her signet to call down lightning to strike Jack Barlow and the mountain that he's on, and it basically collapses on him. Like she drops a mountain on his ass and he's a goner. Like he's dead. But she saved Liam, and she's actually really upset about this because basically a signet is supposed to be a reflection of you. So she's very annoyed. She's very miserable that like her signet is lightning because she's like, that is solely destructive. Her brother was like a healer, so even though like it was to put things back together, and Mira was like able to extend the wards, protecting the city, protecting the country, so again like for the better good of like the community. But for her, Violet, her signet, she feels like it's only good for destruction, and she's very miserable. So this is basically where we get to chapters 29, where the author completely loses the plot. Like this chapter 29 to like chapter 32 pissed me off so much because it's just smut. Like nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's just smut. Violet and Zayden just bump nasties. Like I was so mad. Because the problem was like I was listening to Fourth Wing as an audiobook, right? So I enjoyed it so much that like I when I got the audiobook, I only got Fourth Wing part 1 and I listened to it all in one day and I finished it while I was in Dollarama and my phone was at like 5%. You know what I did because I was enjoying the book so much? I went to Chick-fil-A to charge my phone so I could use my phone to hotspot my iPad so that like I could download part 2 of Fourth Wing. That's how much I was enjoying the stories. Until we get to chapter 29 and it's just smut. Like she completely loses the plot. I was so mad. Also because like the rest of the book before that has zero spice. Like they just make reference to like sex, but nothing happens. So having like explicit content in the book at 29 was it was confusing and funny. But having someone read spice to you is not a pleasant experience. Like you do not want to experience that at all. So just for chapters 29 to chapters 32, I was completely crashing out. Like I was like, shut up. Oh, also, because Violet is falling off Terran, which is a massive dragon, by the way, Zayden makes her, what do you call it, like a harness? But it's kind of weird because no other rider is allowed to have a harness. Like, if you fall to your death, you fall to your death. The dragons don't care about you that much. But Terran actually likes Violet, so he agrees to have Zayden make a harness for him so that Violet can ride him. So she looks weaker than the rest, but I mean, come on, she's basically riding like a building. Like he's huge, he's bigger than all the other dragons, he's scarier, and he's more powerful. And when other people like said, "Oh, you can't ride in a harness," Terran said, "Say it to my face, I dare you." Like Terran's still on business about liking Violet. So I'm just realizing I forgot to mention the existence of something called griffins. So the kingdom they're from has wards protecting it, right? The wards are supposed to protect it from griffins. Griffin riders are the opposition's equivalent of dragon riders, but dragons can breathe fire and they fly higher than griffins. So dragons are superior. But basically the enemy side is the side that has griffins. So basically, after Violet's team wins the war games, as a prize for winning the war games, they get sent to an abandoned outpost outside of the kingdom's wards protection. And she sees that Zayden has friends that are Griffin riders. And they supply, and Zayden and other marked ones are supplying the Griffin riders with like special weapons. So Violet starts freaking out. She's like, "Oh my god, Zayden, you're a traitor. Like you are supplying the enemies with weapons, blah blah blah. Like oh my god, all the marked ones are actually evil. Like they're planning a second rebellion." Only for her to find out that the treason wasn't actually treason. Basically, Zayden's father knew about the existence of Wyvern, which is the common enemy, and Wyverns like suck power out of the earth and they kill everything in their wake, and they're killing griffins, and they will also very soon attack this people's kingdom. But the leaders of the kingdom don't want to acknowledge the existence of wyverns because they don't want to help them. They don't want to help the Griffin riders. So basically, Zayden's father and the rest of the parents of the marked ones were actually on the right side of the war. Like they were actually trying to help the Griffins defeat the Wyverns. And then the Wyverns actually show up in person and a new fight breaks out. Like a new battle breaks out and uh Violet sees like wyverns suck power out of the earth. So basically, anybody that's on the floor while they're draining energy just crumples up and dies. There's a fight. The griffins try to fight the wyverns. The dragons try to fight the wyverns. The riders, like, there's a big pow, pow, pow. Just imagine it as cool and as like badass and as amazing as you possibly can. And in the middle of this conflict, a wyvern tries to attack Terran, and Liam, because he swore to protect her, he flies his dragon between her and the wyvern. The wyvern like clamps on his dragon and kills his dragon. A bonded rider will die automatically if its dragon dies. So because of that, our dear Liam basically dies. So yeah, Liam gives up his life to save Violet. Violet is critically injured, and Xaden takes her to Arisha, which was actually a town that was, it's basically his hometown. It was burned during the Great like Rebellion, the Great War, but stone doesn't burn, so his house survives. And there she learns more about like the revolution. Basically, they are trying to get the kingdom's king to provide weapons for the griffins, so for the people on the other side, like the griffin riders and their people, so that they can fight the wyvern, because the wyvern is basically the common enemy. And she also learns that her brother Brennan didn't actually die. He just found out about the wyvern, and he was like, I'm going to join the revolution. I'm going to try to help these people save lives. So Brennan is alive. Which, okay, can I say, like, I suspected this. You might be like, there's no way you suspected that Brennan isn't dead. But this man was a main character, even though he wasn't in the book. Like, the book of Brennan, where he's always giving Violet advice, the amount of times they mentioned this guy, the amount of references they made to Brennan, I'm like, Brennan is alive. Like, call me a liar, don't believe me, but I swear in my bones, I knew it. The minute Brennan walked into the room, I was like, I knew you didn't die. I knew you didn't die. So yeah, that is basically Fourth Wing. I really enjoyed the book. But yeah, tell me your thoughts. I don't think I missed anything major, but feel free to tell me if I missed anything major or minor.